What's going on, everybody? I'm Giant Opinion Sports. Today we're going to talk about the restructures of Blake Martinez. Now we have the details of Sterling Shepard's restructure, so let's see what the Giants saved. I think overall they freed up and saved about $7 million, but Shepard's original deal was $12.4 for this season. Now he had $8 million guaranteed on that deal, well, on the rest of the deal, so that would have all been paid up front on the release. Now, the Giants would have saved only $4.5 million. The new contract is for $5.25 million, but that's if he hits all his incentives. So, if he gets hurt again, the cap hit will be less than that. The last season was removed also. That's a big deal. So the Giants will not now have to deal with that $8 million dead cap hit. That is brutal. And you don't see many deals done like this in the NFL. But it is a win-win on both sides. Shep don't have to look for a new deal on a bad injury. And the Giants free up a ton of money and didn't have to kick the can down the road, and pay a big chunk in the future. No extra years in the deal. Actually, quite the opposite. After the season, Shep is a free agent. This is a good, smart business move. And by all reports, Shep should be ready week 1 next season. And you can't deny that Shep is an effective receiver on third downs. That $8 million that was going to be dead cap and untouchable now can be used to sign free agents or pay for rookie contracts. Listen, you free up $7 million and you get the player for this next season. Very good move for the Giants. We don't have the details on the Blake Martinez restructure here yet, but if it's anything like the Shep deal, that would be awesome. I have a feeling it's going to be. I can't envision him throwing another year on the end of Martinez's deal. We're all not even sure if he's the type of middle linebacker that Wink wants. But here's what I know. Blake's contract was set to be $14 million against the cap. The Giants would have saved $8.5 million by releasing him. I think they're going to try and get as close to that number as possible while still having Blake on the team. And of course, there was going to be that $5.5 million dead cap hit. So if they released him, now there's no dead money at all from him. So we can get Blake back for at least another year. Let's see how much they can free up the total cap relief. If they can get Blake back for $7-8 million and free up 6 or 7, that would be great for the Giants. And listen, we know Blake Martinez is a good player. He may not be Patrick Willis out here, but let's not pretend the team is better without him. The Giants should look to draft a guy in the first 3 rounds to replace him in the future. I've been telling that story in both my mock drafts. If they can snag a Leo Chanel or Christian Harris, somebody, Chad Muma, somebody, that could develop into a really good starter in this year's draft, that would be great. Also, it's a benefit of having Blake on the team, as a resource for a young linebacker coming in the NFL. I like Tate Crowder, but I think when you saw the result of him being the number 1 guy, a middle linebacker, you just want a little bit better. He's a good depth player, number 2 guy, but I just think that's where he caps out at this point. A month ago, I thought there was no way guys like Shep and Blake would survive this offseason. I was wrong. This front office is showing they are competent. Now let's see how well they can draft. If they can do that, we'll have a bright future here. But I also want to touch on some releases. In the last couple days, I got the numbers written down. Kaden Smith was cut today, which will free up $2.54 million in cap space. Now that number could come down a little bit if Kaden can't pass a physical. NFL contracts are confusing. They do have injury guarantees that go along with them. There's probably a specific day he'll have to get a physical, and if he fails, he'll collect that injury guarantee money. Now, he could have already had that, and this is the result that he passes physical or something. Everywhere I looked, I didn't see anything saying that's the case. I'll try and find out the details in the future. But I just want to say I like Kaden Smith. I think he could have been a decent number 2 tight end, but the front office values the money, more than him. So maybe I'm not seeing the big picture here. I'm not privy of what they're thinking. Maybe he's not a scheme fit, or they got their eyes on another free agent tight end. But just like I talked about with replacing Blake in the draft, I want the Giants to draft a tight end early in this year's draft, preferably in the first 3-4 rounds. Now at the moment, we only have 3 tight ends on the roster. I'm not counting on any of them to give us any kind of production at all, especially any kind of substantial production. Ryzen John is on the roster. You've probably all heard of him. He's more of a wide receiver than a tight end. Kake Hossman or Kaki Hossman, I'm not even sure how to pronounce his name because I've never heard of him before today. And Chris Myrick is on the roster. And we saw him a bit last year, not much. I think it was just like the last 4 or 5 games. He did have that one crazy touchdown where he was on the ground, caught it one-handed, but I'm not relying on him at all. I mean, could he be a possibility as a decent tight end 3? Maybe. I don't know. All I know is that the Giants got a lot of work to do at the tight end spot. If they're going to draft somebody, they better hit on that guy because he's going to be really relied on a lot. And they're going to have to bring in another guy or two from free agency, pure and simple. So this freed up money from Kaden Smith will probably be put right back into the same position. I mean, just to be honest about it. Riley Dixon was also released. He'll be a $2.8 million saving. I know Dixon was a directional punter, which there's not many of them guys in the NFL. But he was making way too much money against the cap. And outside of that one good season he had, he's been average. And I mean bordering on not good depending on the week. The Giants did sign a punter at the end of the season. His name is Jamie Gilliam. And he actually has some NFL experience punting. So he may be the guy. The Giants could elect to draft a punter, one of them later rounds in the draft. Someone told me there's a couple punters in this year's draft that are really, really good. Now, I'm sure they'll bring in some competition if they don't draft a punter. We got to see. That's just a wait and see situation. But here we are. The heads are starting to roll. I can't say I have a problem with anything that they're doing. And if Blake's redone deal looks like Shep's new deal, that will be a huge win for the team. Now the big cloud at the moment is James Bradberry. I think they're trying to trade him, but we're all at, again, like I said, that wait and see moment of time. They got one more week till free agency. If they don't get a deal done for Bradberry, by the time free agency rolls around here, I think they're probably just going to release him. $12 million is a lot of money. That can bring in 4 or 5 players that could, compete with some of these other guys. So, I just can't justify giving Bradberry $21 million after this past season. Even when you factor in the 2020 year where he was great, top 5 in the NFL at corner spot, I still can't justify giving him that money. And I don't know, that last season was just so bad. My arrow's pointing down with him a little bit. I hate to be so overreactive to 1 year, but last year he kind of just really looked like we saw his career play out in Carolina. I mean, I'm thinking last year might have been the outlier with him. Maybe he's more of that player we saw the first 4 years. I mean, 4 seasons he's played right around the same area, of play, and in 1 season out of the world. I mean, the odds tell you what he is. But that's it for me. Keep you filled in. Every little move that happens, I'm not going to make a video on. I like to wait for 3 or 4 of these things to build up and make a video. I'm just not a fan of making them little 1.5, 2-minute videos. They don't seem fun. When I watch videos, I like them to at least be 5, 6, 7 minutes. So, every little thing, I won't bug y'all and give you 20 notifications, but every couple of days I'll touch on what's happening, all the moves that are done. But there should be plenty more to come. This is going to be one of the biggest weeks here for the Giants all year round. So that's it for me. Like and subscribe. I can't forget that. Subscribe if you're new. Peace.